Do you have
But
a
yeah.
Harbaugh story? We got him coming up top of next hour. Is there one?
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I got plenty. I got Harbaugh stories for days, Dan.
How about one I haven't heard that would I can bring back to Jim?
To Jim. All right. Yeah, I mean, I got a few. I mean, first off, like I'll never forget when I first met him. Um, like we were in the building. It was actually right before the lockout was going on. I was getting ready to have my first child. So I'm kind of sneaking in. I'm getting ready to be a free agent, Dan. There's no way that the Niners are going to keep me. And I'm not sure I really want to be back with them either, and so, but meanwhile, they still let me in the building to work out. So I'm coming in the building. I'm kind of sneaking in the ground floor and working out and getting out of there. And Jim comes down one day and I've been doing this for a couple of weeks and I think he maybe caught wind and he catches me down there and he immediately comes up and introduces himself, but he's sizing me up immediately. I mean, like literally not even being very discreet about it, literally sizing me up. I can tell he's like looking at my body, how tall I am. Oh, you're bigger than I thought, like kind of taller than I thought. And then he's like, hey, put your hand up. I'm like, what? What? So I put my hand up and he puts his hand up next to mine. So we're hand to hand, right? And he's measuring my hand. I mean, I haven't met him. It hasn't been 2 minutes. And so he's looking at my hand. He's like, all right. Like I mean, this full inspection. He's like, hey, you want to go play catch? And I was, sure, let's go. So he goes in and he's got this gnarly looking pinky on his throwing hand. So he tapes up his pinky, and just Jim and I go out on the practice field at the Niners and we play catch. And he starts just normal throwing, right? So like we're 10 yards away and tossing the ball to each other. And after a few, Danny starts like, I can tell he's like humming them at me, right? Like, so it's like, okay. And he's kind of like, come on, bring it on. And so I start humming them back at him, right? Here we are again. Like, I swear it hasn't been 10 minutes since I met the guy, and we're playing like pepper, 10 yards apart out on the practice field, just humming balls at each other as hard as we can, kind of who can catch them, who can throw it harder. Then he's like, okay. Then we go walk over and we start playing these games, these throwing games at goalposts. And he's like moving me around. And he was obviously a lot younger. I mean, this was a long time ago. He can still throw it. And so we're playing all these throwing games at goalposts and trying to do all these contests. Hey, do this now. See if you can do this. This lasts about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. He's like, all right, okay. We walk in. That's enough. Doesn't say anything. I get no feedback at all on like how this went. I mean, I remember coming home to my wife and I'm like telling her about what happened. And she's like, well, what did you think? I'm like, I had no idea. No idea. Well, luckily a couple of days later, I go back into workout, Jim pops back down again and says, hey, you want to go play catch again? So this repeated. He and I go play catch for several weeks, just Jim and I playing catch and playing stupid games and pepper out on the field, and all of a sudden this kind of led to like, hey, what do you think about coming back? And it's just the way Jim is. And he's one of a kind and he's all ball, all ball. I say this on the podcast, like Jim, he would tell the team this. He's like, Dan, his life aspirations were to play football as long as he could and then coach football as long as he could and then die. Like that's Jim. That's Jim. And it's real, so
But you know what? I was wondering about this. I don't know if you'll get the analogy. He's like Ted Lasso. Like he just has kind of corny sayings. He's his own he's unique, positivity, all of those things. It just feels like if there's a Ted Lasso in the NFL, it's Jim Harbaugh.
No, there is. And I think it's kind of the one things I think people ask about leadership all the time. What makes a leader? And certainly in the NFL world where it's a bunch of just alpha dogs, right? Like the biggest, baddest dudes on the planet. But at the core of being a leader, like you got to be authentic, right? You can't BS anybody. And Jim, it's authentic. Like he just loves football. He genuinely, like he is doing what he's meant to do. And as quirky as it is, like I know I always just appreciated the honesty in it. Like this is who he is. It's different. Yeah. But like, again, he loves what he's doing. He's grateful for it. And I think that it really sets a tone for the building and the team.